my secret.
You got me thinking this.
Let's go to like the African shop.
So we'll have a cup and we'll say, yeah. It goes away, but the numbness in the mouth is part of it, and then you have a cup after a cup, and some of these guys go for hours. I don't have that type of stamina. The club that I do visit and go to, and some of the mixes I'll go to, that's the thing. It's an all-nighter. It's hours on end. But the beauty of it is, for me, is I've got this amazing amount of self-awareness. I know what I can do and what I can't, and I know I can't stay up all night and drink this stuff.
Yeah.
And you can get to a point where you're actually inebriated like you would be drinking alcohol. All the same effects, except for you keep your cognitive ability. It is the strangest thing. You'll have the body high, room spinning, all of those desired effects that we get from alcohol without the loss of motor sensation and judgment and impaired ambition, all the bad things that come with alcohol.
You feel like it helps keep you up at night? Like I felt that way with like the kratom leaf. It's almost like it gives you energy, but it doesn't. Like it's a sedative, but
yeah,
you're like up all night still because I don't know what it is.
Same. For me, you would think, all right, well, as a sedative, this should help me sleep. But I've noticed that on nights when I do drink it heavily, I don't have really good, restful, undisrupted type sleep.
Yeah. You feel that way, though.
Yeah.
I've heard that. You mean you get better sleep? Like it's not disrupted is what you're saying, right?
I feel like for me, I would expect to get like deeper sleep, more restful sleep. But for some reason, I'm a little bit more antsy.
Yeah.
I'm up more. If I've been drinking a lot of it, having to get up and go to the bathroom, that sort of thing. But I do get the relaxing properties out of it, which is the desired effect.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with the leaves that I'm like, I wake up very unrested. So you got to be kind of careful.
Yeah.
It's like I think, David has said some stuff like you're just sedating yourself. It's not like you're actually tired. But
I do really like his class about arousal and sleep and talking about how some of these things and how first responders too, going through some of these groups on how that's sleep, but it's not real sleep. It's just getting you there. And I think the way they talked about it in the group that I went to was really insightful.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of alcoholics have that thing too, where they're like not understanding why they're tired, but they just got hammered and slept for 16 hours. It's like, well, you just sedated yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't get to that actual stage of sleep where the restorative processes happen. Memory consolidation, mood, still that mystery cloaked part of sleep that we still don't fully understand on the physiological side, but we know that's where the magic happens. And if you're not getting down to those lower levels, it's not happening. You were asleep, but sedated, but that's why you're waking up 12 hours later, still feeling like shit.
Right.
It's like, what is the deal? I know I was out. Yeah, but you weren't getting sleep.
Yeah. He's the big computer guy, though. Great computer guy. Incredible computer guy. There you go. Face of Death.
That's an old one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Is it good?
No. It's disturbing. It's actually, I first came across it. This is like third, fourth grade. This is like internet was still a thing. I watched it on video cassette. That's how old school I am.
I was gonna say they used to have actual documentaries, and then I think it turned into a website.
Really?
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more profound and scarier and a bit creepier if you watch it via VHS on an old TV. That was my experience. I'm still scarred to this day.
Yeah.
Stuff that I watched. My buddy was like, "You ever heard of Faces of Death?" No, but you got my attention, mate. Well, come over. Let's watch this VHS tape. Disturbed. I think there's a couple of different episodes or tapes of it. It was the original one.
Yeah, I think there's a few of the original VHS or whatever. What was it? What was on it? I don't think I ever saw the original.
Creepy. I'm sure you can pull up clips, but the parts that I remember from like the opening scene is they show this restaurant where they've got these live monkeys in the middle of the table. So there's like a hole in the middle of the table, and the monkey's head's popped out, and when they pull the dinner thing off the top, and the monkey's in there screaming and going wild, and people around the table have these hammers, and they're smashing this monkey to death, and then they peel back its cranium, and they're eating monkey brains live. And I was like, is this for real? Like, my buddy's name was Brad. I was like, Brad, is this for real? Is this fake? I was like, no, this is all real death stuff. You got to keep watching. And it just goes from there. Of course, it's all gore. It's all,
and it is real.
As far
the
as
actual VHSs are real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is before YouTube. This is before video clips, cell phones, all that. So all the stuff is like recorded. You could tell it's old stuff. It's from like the 60s and older. It's real grainy, even back then, watching it. But seared into my memory, the fact you brought that up, take me back home. And then what do? I get into a line of work where we get to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
For free.
My buddy, how old are you?
42.
Okay. All right. You don't look it at all.
I'll take it.
Nice.
I'll take it.
He's been doing the right stuff, people. I'm 31. When I was 13, my buddy showed me 3 Guys, One Hammer.
Never heard of that one.
The worst thing. It's in like 160, 240 pixel, which helps. And I did go back and watch it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I've also seen a lot of dead people since then. But it's 3 Ukrainian guys, and they put like a sandbag on some dude in the woods, and then they just beat his skull in with a sledgehammer. And then once he's like rendered pretty much unconscious, but he's still like, kind of posturing and things like that, then they stab his eyes out with a screwdriver.
It's Casino style, like the ending scene where Joe Pesci and them are getting their asses beat in that cornfield style.
I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen Casino?
No.
Have
you seen it?
Yeah. It is a classic, mate.
Pull the scene up. Pull it up.
It's pretty brutal, but I have not seen the one you're referring to, but it is.
Oh, you can watch it.
Yeah. It is probably one of the most visceral, if I'm looking for a word, ass-beating scenes. I'm a mafia movie connoisseur, and yeah, right there, Casino, 1995. Wow, it's been that long, but that's exactly what it made me think of. And to preface this a bit, main character Joe Pesci ends up breaking a bunch of unwritten rules for the mafia, and all his bad ways end up catching up with him. And the ending scene is him paying for his sins, so to speak.
No.
A couple of the mob bosses. I'm not going to ruin the movie. I cannot believe you have not seen this movie.
Dude, I kind of suck. I've missed out on a lot of historical films and music.
Are you much of a mafia movie guy?
Yeah, I mean, like anything new, I'll watch. I have a weird thing about 90s movies where I just feel like they're not good enough.
Oh, man.
Film-wise, not storyline-wise, but like the filmography is just not good enough for me to watch it.
I think that adds to the overall essence of it.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased because I grew up watching this stuff, but it's not overdone. It's not over-edited. There's not a bunch of special effects. It's just the raw storytelling, and this one's done just so well. It really adds to the mystique of the video. If you ask me, that would be my stance on it.
So they drag him out to the cornfield after this?
Yeah, you probably got to zip forward to it. There it is.
Oh,
okay.
God. And
that's just them pulling up. It's pretty quick. Okay, it's tying up all the loose ends in the story and in the plot.
It took months for everything to calm down. But finally, my guys got out on bail, and the bosses wanted me to send my brother Dominic out to Vegas.
Brother Dominic.
Always the fucking dollar.
I love me some Joe Pesci. He plays that role so good.
What's that newer show with John Travolta? It's kind of mafia. I think it's a TV show. It's on like Prime or something. Just whacked him with the b-ball bat.
I think what's so cool that a lot of people miss right there is he's the one narrating, and as he's narrating, that first hit comes in. He as the narrator, and then jumps right into the scene.
Oh my God.
And what was the name of the video that you were talking about?
3 Guys, One Hammer.
3 Guys, One Hammer. So
yeah,
this is
don't watch it, but it's similar.
This is what about 8 mob members and bats.
This is like exactly what it
And so
looks
this is
like.
hours later as well.
Frankie, leave the kid alone. He's still breathing. Still breathing. Leave him alone. Frankie.
So they make him watch. That's his little brother, right?
Oh no!
But this is what made me think of this scene where you're explaining it. Like,
That's
this is pretty Hollywood, right?
yeah, feels definitely identical though. Oh, they dug a grave for him.
Oh,
That's
that's
nice.
all kind of set up as all like it was planned or something.
That's nice of them at least.
Off it goes.
Oh my god.
Bam. Then they started on him. You can imagine how this goes. Brutal.
And the underwear too.
Brutal.
God, Italians, dude.
And then
Terrible people.
you messing with the bad ones.
The boss.
So this is a crazy scene here. They throw it on. You see a little bit of smoke coming out. He's still
So they made an example.
physically alive. He's probably knocked the hell out, of course.
They buried them.
Brutal. But I know this is a movie.
Right.
And
yeah.
think about Faces of Death and some of these other clips where you're like, gosh, is this shit real?
Speaking of monkeys, did you see those monkeys that escaped on the highway a couple months ago?
No, but I got to hear all about it.
Oh man,
It got my attention.
They were like test monkeys, and
It sounds like an opening plot for some type of crazy sci-fi.
the driver fell asleep, and so he's in like a box truck, and the driver falls asleep, and there was like, I don't know, 40 test monkeys, and they're all running out in the highway like somewhere in Nebraska. I think it was up northeast, but
Recently?
yeah, it was like, oh, here we go, October. Well, actually, we looked this up not too long ago, but this is crazy. But I think they ended up having to just blast these monkeys, dude.
I wonder who they'd call in.
I
for
think it
this
was
type of assignment.
literally the local law enforcement came and just started blasting. Was there any footage?
I seen one.
Not of them killing him. Here we go. See? The box truck falls over the semi.
This is insane.
Yeah, dude. Nuts.
Now, when you say test monkeys,
Yeah,
I
look-
think Marvel comics. Like, have these things been injected with some type of radiation? They've got some type of DNA that they're testing out. This is super top secret stuff where everybody involved gets whacked.
Luckily, wait. Does it say 43? 43. How do you say that? Resus? Maka? Jesus? Resus? God, I suck. Yeah,
They're
43
monkeys.
of them,
Monkeys.
though. 43 monkeys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just killed them all. They were headed to Tulane, so I don't think they had any, like, super powers yet.
And they found all 43.
No, I don't think they found all of them. I think there was a couple in the wild.
How would you like that surprise? You're in the middle of Nebraska somewhere and a
Yeah.
Marquesas monkey hops on your shoulder and he's glowing.
All primates were accounted for.
What the?
All right, ask though. We'll continue, but see if they killed any, because they wrote that really fancy. They were accounted for. 43 broke loose. They accounted for all 100. I think they killed some. Just out there blasting things that are the size of your calves. What do you do though? You gotta,
How do you train for something like this?
You
know?
didn't get that in your fire academy
No,
training?
we must have skipped past that chapter. But that's why I was like, who did they call in to eradicate these monkeys? And I don't think first initial thought, I would think he called the state trooper guys. I would think, hey, let's call like the local, let's call like Cousin Billy or whoever that knows this area is like well versed in hunting and tracking style tactics that are applicable to monkeys.
They probably had to get it taken care of pretty quick though.
I would hope so. Unless they were just really quick to publish the story and get people talking because it's working.
Transporting 21. Well, that's... Oh, my God. Carrying diseases like COVID-19, hepatitis. You were right, dude. Herpes B.
It's exactly what they need more of up in Nebraska, right?
Don't be getting on Hinge in that city. Hey, Kia, thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. What were you just recently in Hawaii for?
I went back. One, I try to find any excuse I can to go back to Hawaii, and it was the middle of February, so it's like -20 here. I deal a lot with the people still living out there. I do online coaching, and so I've got a bunch of clients out that way. And one particular client does a lot of public give back, public service type stuff. And for a long time, I'm like, hey, I want to be involved in one of these things. And in one of our coaching sessions, she kind of playfully brought it up. She's like, well, we're going to be cleaning the side of this mountain called Lahi Lahi in February. And we were meeting, this was in November. And I was like, well, there ain't nothing going on in February. I'd like to go. I'll go. I was like, if you meet your goal of finding your goal weight, most of it's weight loss stuff. We hit your goal, I'll show up and I'll go. And sure enough, she hit her goal and I showed up. And it was really cool. So we got to be on the side of the mountain. We got to clean up homeless encampments, and there was a ton of trash. I think that was the biggest thing that I took away from it, is how much random shit you would not believe is on the side of this tropical mountain in Hawaii. I'm talking refrigerators, crates, you name it, just the wildest stuff. And we went out there to go and clean it up. And it's literally the side of a mountain, an old, desolate volcano. Beautiful setup. And then that's where a lot of these homeless will go and build these encampments. So I went thinking this is going to be a lovely style beach cleanup. And everything you would imagine. Walking down a beach, lovely sunset. You're just kind of frolicking along for social media. Pick up some trash, get some good pics. No, this was full-on structures embedded into the side of mountains. And I'm talking pretty well done. With support beams, like things were tied up. These were full-on structures. And so I get there to help out. They're, of course, picking up trash. And then, like, we've got to take these structures apart. So I found myself up on top of these buildings. We're taking them apart, support beams, like doing a lot more work than I was anticipating it being. But it was a really, really cool experience to see how the people come together and get these projects done. And I just love doing stuff like that. And this was an opportunity to get out of the cold weather and go home and do some stuff, and found myself doing a bunch of stuff out there. But that was one of the things. I did not know it was going to be that much work. It was a ton of work.
So you online coached a female client, and then she hit the weight that you guys agreed on, and then your gift to her was you showed up to help with the project she was working on?
Yeah, but it was really like a gift to me. I get to go to Hawaii
for sure.
and do some stuff. She works with the city. She's actually a city council member there for the city of Honolulu, and does a lot of that. Her big thing is she's very public service oriented. She's very people first. It is one of those type of leaders that actually shows up and does this stuff. Not only talks about it. And that's one of the big platforms for her, to actually go out there, get people involved, talk about these things, and then have the community come together. I'm like, I'd love to come and do that. I'd love to come and work on the side of this mountain and help clean up encampments, but I'd love to actually do some of the hands-on stuff. And the timing worked out perfectly. I got out of the cold here, and was a really, really cool experience. And if you've been watching any of the recent news here lately, they're actually going through some natural disaster stuff out there in Hawaii right now, as of this week and last week.
What's going on out there right now?
There's really bad. They've had torrential rain and flooding, and so all of the North Shore is damn near destroyed. It's the water and the floods have come through, and it's brought a bunch of mud. People are displaced. They're estimating it to be over $1 billion worth of damage to infrastructure and so on and so forth. And so there's actually a ton of cleanup going on right now. And I'm like, well, I should have waited an extra month or two, but how do you plan that? But that's some of the hot topics and some of the current events of what's going on in Hawaii out there. I guess one of the main components of why the flooding got so bad. So, of the Dole plantation, it's where they grow all the pineapples. A lot of that's up in the North Shore, but there's a dam that helps keep the water levels in the flood areas stable. And apparently Dole is in control of this dam, not the state, not the military. And it's been a constant subject of contention on this thing being updated and not safe. And then it failed during these heavy rains, and it led to a ton of damage. So pineapples will be rolling, I can only assume. All the what all is the backstory of all that, but it's kind of neat to understand a little bit of the storyline, but it's also a bit devastating that I can't be out there and helping out a ton with that.
Yeah, what a way to refill your cup too.
Absolutely,
and get a little personal joy out of the whole experience as well.
Yeah, it's just tough to see. Now we know with the history of how natural disasters go here in the States, as far as response and how things are done. You know what I'm saying? If you think about like Katrina and tornadoes that we've had here, it almost seems like there's this kind of pattern on how that transcends. And it's all right, that destruction happens, and then the repair, and then, okay, how do we go about this, and resources out there. So to see it evolve and unfold in real time, a lot of those discussion points are being brought up. I think it's really interesting. It definitely something needs to be talked about.
You said more. Back home. Where are you originally from?
Home is here. I live here in the Kansas City area. But when referring to the islands, it's just something that we do. We like calling it home. Obviously, we're not there anymore. But Hawaii and the Samoan Islands, and the islands in particular, are home, or the home, where your people come from, where your family comes from. And it is the literal home of the Tuala family. So when Hawaii became a state and part of the Union in the late 50s, that's where my family was. They had migrated from the Samoan Islands to Hawaii. And so when Hawaii became part of the Union, hence it made us Americans. So that was our first home in the States. Still have Tuala's like immediate family there, relatives, a ton of connections back to the island. I go back there as often as I can to do things, and that's why we call it home.
Were you born here? Kansas City?
So I am a California transplant. Grew up a California kid, and my family moved here in the 90s. Been here ever since. And so I was there in Hawaii, but I claim here. This is my hood. This is my set. This is what I claim, because this is where I am currently. But you never forget where you came from, type of thing. So I always feel like I got to interject that into the conversation when people do ask, hey, where are you from? Here, my family's from. Really, really common.
Yeah, well, especially when you have such a strong lineage there and a cool story.
And good weather.
Yeah.
All the good reasons to go back.
How, as a kid, so what, you were probably 10 or 11 when you moved here?
Yeah.
As a kid, how often did you guys go out there to visit your immediate family?
Not very often. We did travel a lot between here and California. That was like an almost every summer style of trip. But as far as Hawaii, I didn't get out there until 2000. It was my senior trip. And when asked where I wanted to go, I'm like, I want to go to this place that we always talk about, always heard about in stories, always like, hey, when our family was in Hawaii, finally got to go out there. And since then, several times, really as many times as I can get out there and visit. It's been pretty frequent here in the last couple of years since spawning off and doing a lot more of the social media and online coaching thing. Just find myself out there more often. So,
when did you have your eyes set on being in public safety?
Great question. I felt like I always wanted to do something where I felt like I was helping other people. That's kind of the base answer, right? Hey, what are you interviewing with us for? Well, I really enjoy helping others. And that's initially what I got into right out of high school. We talked about medical assisting stuff. I don't know if we were rolling then, but right out of high school, I knew I didn't want to do one thing. I knew I didn't want to work in the food industry. I'd worked fast food, gave it an attempt to be a server at a restaurant. I was like, I do not like this. People, when they're hungry, can be the absolute worst. I would do anything but this. It was put in front of me. I had my sister-in-law at the time. We had just got back from Hawaii, of all places. She's like, hey, I'm going to go try this medical assisting thing out. I'm going to go check that out. I'm like, well, you get to help others, and it's not serving food. Let me check this out. And the rest is history from there. I really enjoyed the hands-on technical part of that. And you get to help people, but you're not really the one that ultimately all of the pressure is on. It's like, well, this is on the doctor. I've got to do my part, but I can help. And I always kind of enjoyed that angle of it. And as I progressed in my career and like yourself, going to do more hands-on stuff, be able to do a bit more, getting into paramedicine and branching out that way, just felt like it was a natural fit for me personally. That's kind of how it all started.
When did you get on your first EMS or fire job?
I started where I'm at in 2011, and my first job was in 2010. So having spent about a decade in the hospital and clinical setting as a CMA, and there's no real like one job for CMA, kind of float around, did everything. X-ray tech, worked respiratory, I worked for a sleep doctor, and we did pulmonary functions testing, spirometry, I did blood. I got to do all the hands-on. Oh dear. My son knows better. And he's calling, so I know it could be one of two things. He either needs money or needs me to pick him up.
Do you need to answer it? You want us to pause? We can pause real quick.
Apologies, fellas.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Oh, yes. Let's get another round in. Why not?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so one of my friends that I play the game with, he was asking me like about like a workout split that he could do. I just sent screenshots of like the bro split that you had sent to me on the Tautua app. You think that's cool for him, or?
Well, yeah, I'll send you a like a PDF program that might help out better.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The screenshot will give him a glimpse, but yeah, let me send.
Just send that, and then I'll send it to him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send that over.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. I was way off. Apparently,
It was a coaching gig, guy.
coaching gig, and that prompts me to go on the do not disturb. Come on, we up.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
And
And hopefully, I'm not rambling on.
no, please ramble.
Couple shots of this stuff, and I can.
The more you do, the less I gotta do. Dog.
Oh no, that's coming. Don't think I'm not going to flip the script and start asking questions. I've been doing some research.
Please don't. Please don't.
Definitely.
Okay, so you started with your current job in 2010.
I got on the thriving metropolis of Sugar Creek, Missouri.
Oh, nice.
That's where I started. Great way to get a start because there's not a whole lot of volunteer departments out this way on the Jackson County side.
Just inner city.
Yeah. Intercity. I did not get on with Intercity, but I had found and landed a spot with Sugar Creek Fire. Now, they're a one station and one truck town. It's not a very big town, but it's kind of this little in-between zone between Independence and Kansas City. But it was a job. So they don't have volunteers, but they have a reserve position to where you can show up to train, pay to get go to the training. I'll have training once every couple of weeks, and then you get paid on responding to calls. So everybody gets these pagers. Yeah, that was the coolest thing. You got this pager. When this pager went off, if you responded in time, you would be able to fill out that you responded and get paid for the call.
The old
beep 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 beep. And I thought
yeah,
it was
beep, beep, beep.
Oh, it's so cringe thinking back on it now. But I was so excited to become a fireman that just getting the job, I was like, cool. I don't care. But now I can say like, I am one, right? Until you run a fire, you're not really one. But I had the gear, I had a job, and I had this pager, so I'd wear that damn thing.
Hey, you don't have to, dude. I
So
used to
cringe
love
talking about
the
it now.
pager, dude, and the trauma shears, and I go eat. I worked at Inner City for a while.
Oh, you did?
But then
Okay.
I also worked at AMR, so they do the ambulance for Sugar Creek.
Yeah.
So I would run in with those guys. Always cool guys. We had a dude, shout out Shane Jansen. He worked at Sugar Creek for a while. Went to Kansas City for a bit. Now I think he's over at Consolidated, District 1, whatever.
Oh, okay. Chasing the money.
Yeah, well, he got hired at a real bad time at Kansas City when if you were a medic, you were 24 hours on the ambulance no matter what. So, and what sucks though is he left like 2 months before. Actually, I think he gave you your position, but he left like 2 months before we got this big old raise, and then they put in these like stipulations where you could only be detailed for 12 hours. But you know, whatever.
I'm so confusion when I think about how KC operates and some of the nuances. So are you with KCFD as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are in good company, mate. Oh, I don't clue.
Duck that.
Yeah. On how, shifts, and you guys are such a large department in comparison with the mid-size department that we are. We're 7 stations. 3
You guys
shifts.
are 7 stations now?
7 stations. They're looking to deploy 8 or start
For
stations.
some reason, I thought you were 4, maybe 5.
So much big.
Yeah, space-wise, but they're also expanding. They're building so much infrastructure out there and expanding that way, the population, that they're finding the need for it. But when I think, oh, man, this is a lot of stations that you guys, with, keeping up with 8 in 3 shifts, I just always thought it was a foreign concept to be on the same department with somebody and have the possibility of never actually meeting them.
Isn't that crazy?
That blows my mind. You think about some of these bigger departments. I'm like, I could see that. Yet everybody immediately thinks L.A. or one of these big world-class departments, and you're like, oh, that's right here.
Yeah, I run into that a lot with I have buddies that work at Ford, and I don't know why I'm so surprised, but it's the same thing here. They're like, do you know Jonathan McJonathan? I'll be like, no. But same thing with Ford. I'll ask these guys, oh, you know this dude? And they're like, no, dude, we've got 2,500 employees, across 6 different shifts.
I think it hits you when you realize how the general public thinks that as well, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a local department.
No, yeah.
It's a sweet grandma. I was like, do you know Johnny? He's been a fireman for, oh, okay. So was he here? He works in Oklahoma. Oh, we all don't know each other.
Yeah, they will ask.
Yeah.
They'll think they're like, he's a chief in bumfuck Egypt, and you're like, I
barely know the guys on my own shift.
I don't know the guy sleeping next door to me, dog.
So sweet, but there's so many of those things that you don't think about till you're doing the job, and you're like, what makes you oh well, I do this every day. Of course, that's why I think this way, but that being one of them, it's nothing surprises.
You can't fault them though, because they still think that the ambulance is a transport only type of device.
Yeah.
Oh, you're an ambulance driver. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't get hit with that one as often. I think it comes in where people are always surprised to see, oh, there's a whole lot of you guys here. Oh, we just called 911. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all show up.
Yeah.
Well, what's the fire truck doing here? And again, we do this all the time, and I try to put myself in other people's shoes. It's like, I got a medical thing. Why are all these people showing up? A lot of people just don't know. They just don't know.
Are all of your guys' pumpers ALS now?
Yeah. We'll always at least have a medic on something, so we can call them ALS level units.
Right.
No. Yeah. And we all kind of rotate. So that would be the benefit. And we're always sending a truck in an ambulance, but we recently changed that. We went to a lower level call, I guess you want to say, and we'll send just ambulances now. It was a brand new thing for us within the last year.
Yeah, we do that quite frequently. It's just an ambulance, unless it's like, chest pain, shortness of breath.
Yeah.
But do they send an ambulance for lift assists for you guys, or do they just send the pumper?
We'll send the truck.
Nice.
We'll send the truck.
Were you always into fitness growing up?
No. Nope. Always did sports. Always was active, an outdoorsy kid. I grew up surfing, skateboarding, doing all the things back in the analog days. I had an analog childhood, so that was it. Like, that was the thing to do. And naturally, getting into work, I found myself in a very sedentary style job, working at a hospital, and I ended up in a private office. And one of the things I learned is, shoot, man, I start packing this stuff on quick. In the office I was working at back in the day, they used to let pharmaceutical reps come to these offices, and they would bring full-on luncheons. I think they got a lot of restrictions in place now. It's been a while since I did it, but they would bring full-on lunches, and this would be their way of winning business and getting these doctors to write scripts for them. And it got so crazy, they would send them on trips. They would, have all these enticing things to get you to really buy into this pharmaceutical company. But one of the things they did was supply food, and they did not spare any expense. They've got budgets like you would not believe. I believe they capped it on how much they could spend on lunches now, but they used to bring in, it would be Jack Stacks. It would be some fancy smancy steak. It would be all this good food, and that would be every day. Like, all right, this was the Pfizer rep. So for 5 days a week, I'd be getting these full-on lunches, eating good, and I always took the leftovers home. Like, they either threw it away, and I was like, we can't throw all that away.
No, absolutely not.
We'll put on, so when I was in the sedentary job, not doing a whole lot, I ended up putting on a ton of weight. I'm like, this can't be it. This can't be it for me. And found myself back into the whole fitness realm. Played rugby towards the end of my high school career, and always been closely associated with the Kansas City Blues, which is the predominant big club here in town. And they've got a men's league, so they've got high school level men's league, and all of my close buddies all played rugby, and they were all firemen. It also led me to doing my current job. So a lot of these guys were firemen, played rugby with these guys, and of course it's athletics. And I would always get these guys to be like, hey, you should get into firefighting. You should come check this out. You should come do this. And find this avenue of needing to stay in shape to play rugby. Just drinking the Kool-Aid one day. I'm like, let me come and check this out. And did it right along with Kansas City. And I can remember my experience being, you guys get paid to do this shit? Hang out with your buddies all day. We went, I want to say we were down here, City Market. I can't remember the station. down here off City Market.
25s.
Yeah, I think it was 25s. So they had one of my buddies there invited me out, so I went and did a ride along. We ended up cooking like pasta or something from scratch, right? And that was the day. It was like going to the grocery store. We ran some cool calls. They gave me a set of gear. We ended up responding to something. And it turned out being a big on fire. But I just thought it was so cool. I remember riding out to the job and these guys getting dressed out. And I was just sitting down eating donuts with these guys, right? Seeing them dress out, and they're looking like superheroes to me, like all dressed up, gear on. It was like really like one of those moments. I was like, man, that's so badass. Like that's what these guys do. And got to watch them in the element. And so I remember at the end of that shift, I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to. This is it. Felt a lot of the same things that you get with any team sport, the camaraderie part, all the hype words and all the keywords you would hear somebody trying to explain that. And like, this is really it. This is really about as close to the sport that I enjoy. And there's a physical component. Like, you got to be in great shape, right? All firemen are fit. That was really the draw for me. Yeah, you know, it was like, that was the draw for me. I was like, yeah, I'd be able to stay in shape and do all this stuff and do something different every day. And then also kind of be really proud of telling people what you do.
So were you kind of appalled at first before you started your fitness journey of seeing how unseriously these people take their careers and what they're doing?
How so?
Like, was there an initial thought before you started your fitness companies? Did you have like this weird epiphany where you're like, oh, these people aren't taking this as serious as they should? They're out of shape. They're eating horribly. They're overweight. Was that any part of the initial?
I've never had it asked that way because it was more of an introspective thing for me. Because it was, I would see people in great shape, but also see firemen, you know, there's always that one. You know, like, oh, that's a big fireman. But for me, it was because I was personally going through that and had my own little close call type thing. You know, went on a fire and found myself out of air and nothing happened, but had that face-to-face moment with like, shit, if this really did go south, like, I'd have been fucked. Like, this wasn't that bad.
Right.
What if it is bad? We don't have the next plan to get out. Most of that's on you. I think that was the pivotal thing is knowing that we all train, we have things in place, but at the end of the day, your biggest deterrent to that is not getting yourself in that spot and having the ability to self-rescue. So I'd gotten the heaviest I'd ever been, had one of those points where it was like close call for me, and it was like, that was really like my shock, my coming to. And it was more introspective because I was like, I'm fat and out of shape. Like, I haven't been playing rugby for a couple of seasons, just kind of let myself go. And I almost had this repeat of where I was in the medical office. I was like, I'm in this capacity. And of course, that wasn't the ignition point for me in that job because that really didn't make a big difference. And had more of that self-talk where I was like, well, like, this is what I signed up for. I know I'm an athlete. I don't know all the technical stuff about training and all. I just know I need to move more. Let's start there. It's got to get me in a better spot than where I am now. And that led me into the coaching part. I was like, let me get my ass in shape. Let me lose this weight. I know it's not impossible. People do it all the time. And that's what led me to social media. And then like, all right, what do I do? I kind of saw a little bit of that with my son, Colin. Is that's where you were. Is like, you ask the closest person to you. You start the natural discovery process of it. You want to ask somebody that you know. But if you don't know anybody, you're going to go right to the source everybody else goes to. And I learned a lot going through that process. That there was a bit of confusion, and a lot of it didn't make sense for like what we do. You know, I call it the 9 to 5 approach. There is a 9 to 5 approach that works really well and could be repeated with a lot of people, but that's taking the stance that you're getting a full 8 hours of sleep. That's taking the stance that you're not dealing with elevated cortisol levels, and you've got this eating window and this stress spike that happens that just with the way the schedule's set up. And so works for Joe Schmo at a medical office like I was, that's not going to cut it if you've been up all night and you've been running stuff and you're hyper vigilant. You know what I'm saying? Like you're at that stage and you can't really get to this relaxed state. And that was the tough part learning for me. So I had to learn some things through my process, and it goes face to face with the public servant thing and just being in this line of work. you have something in you too where you want to help others in some type of capacity. It's the reason why we all are drawn to this profession. So that means anything you learn that is of benefit, you want to make sure that everybody else on your crew knows. If you learn some cool way to pull that hose, or extrication or defeat a lock or whatever, first thing we do at that dinner table is we share that knowledge, because what makes you better, you want the people around you. And that's what led me to the coaching thing. It's like, I learned some stuff, but why not just put it out there and hopefully it helps somebody, one guy, somebody in my crew, whatever. That makes it worth it for me. It wasn't about doing a lot of things I'm doing now, although it's helpful. But I think the chance of having a bigger impact is really what led me into and keeps me still passionate about answering phone calls for my kids. And
so initially you wanted self-accountability, personal accountability, rather than you saw a community problem that you needed to fix. It was more so fix yourself. And then I assume at some point then you developed this mindset of, well, I need to help this person because I can see the path they're going down since I just went down it. Is that what am I gathering that correctly? Because you're around people that aren't taking it as seriously as you. I can't imagine, especially with how active you are and how serious you take your fitness. You're doing all this extra stuff, but at first it begins as you doing it for yourself, right? Then you start coaching. Is it all, you never developed like an unhealthy, like, why aren't you doing this? Or, I mean, it doesn't appear that you did, which I think is great.
No.
Like, holding others accountable doesn't seem like it was on your radar.
Well, because I again, when I make it more about me, I'm like, okay, what are some of the things that make me kind of raise my ear up at something? And it's never from the stance where somebody else is telling me I'm doing wrong, because I know that when you do that, most of us go on the defensive anyways. You're not going to change anybody's mind. That's how I am.
Right.
And just being in my role, and I think my culture had a lot to do with that, is you look for somebody that's got these characteristics that you want, that's who you're paying attention to. And if this person has these characteristics and they're in the spot where they do articulate their thoughts, they're going to be a bit more believable as far as credibility. And I feel just first responders in general, that's kind of our measuring stick. Why would I listen to you? You haven't done these things that you expect me to do. You're full of shit, bro. Like, I'm not doing it. And so that was it for me. And so I was like, well, if I want to be in this position where I say the things I say, well, I want to be able to do the things I say. And I have some relevant experience to this. It really came for having the will to want to do it. Like, I always got a little bit scared of stepping out and claiming something, but a little bit more forward about doing it, having done it myself and being living proof. It's like, okay, well, I did it, but I learned some things along the way. This is why I'm asking you to do it that way. So never really been the type to really just push it on others. That's how I am with religion and politics and all that. I feel hearts and minds is really where you should start, if that's the type of impact you want to have.
Do you feel, though, objectively, that if people did what you're doing, the outcome would be, again, objectively better?
Yeah.
Because what you're describing sounds like you're putting a lot of the weight on yourself, and you're going to let other people come to the epiphany that they need to change when they need to change. But I think objectively, again, that word is, I can't repeat it enough, it would be better if everybody took their fitness a lot more serious. I mean, I was the same way. When I first got on the fire department, I was training for an MMA fight, and then there was still like stuff that was gassing me out.
Yeah.
And so then I'd look at somebody else who's never lifted a weight in their life, and I'm like, I can't imagine how they feel comfortable enough to do this job, or to even accept this job when they're not doing half of the stuff I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But again, like you said, I think you have a very healthy perspective, because in my head, it created a lot of like dissonance with that person. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? It's not a good way to be, but I don't know.
What's been your experience with that? I mean, initially, you'll venture out and try pushing these ideals, right? But so what's been your experience when you did, even initially, on that? You had this epiphany. You're like, well, shit, I'm rolling and stuff, and I'm gassed, man. And I'm doing okay, but you got to be going through something, bro.
Well, at first it was just talking to these people and realizing that they don't have the type of accountability I have. And then I have my own flaws. So then it kind of, molded into this, who am I to tell this person that they need to get on the treadmill or they need to do this or that when I go home and I'm drinking or something? Maybe they don't drink. So I feel like we all have, you know, our little crutches, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had a little bit of a schema shift on that, as far as not wanting to force, like you said, force your opinion, because they're not going to listen unless they're ready to change.
Yeah.
But it is, to me, it was like a big deal. We had a thing where we have these amazing physicals that they do every year.
Yeah.
And you get like your blood work, ultrasound of every body part. You know, you get like a physical, you get a like a stress test. And you have people that are like, why the fuck do they want me to do all that? And I'm such a hypochondriac that I'm like, do every exam you've got. Do every test on me. Please do every test.
Do your worst, doc. Like, here I am.
And that starts to get me back into that mindset where I'm like, I can't believe how ungrateful these people are. But again, it's their life. You know, maybe they do stuff better than me and they're not doing any of the stuff I'm doing. So you got to like ground yourself too.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like you do a great job of doing.
I think that's a great asset that we have in this job. We only started doing that about 4 years ago. What coincidentally was the time frame that, you know, I started doing my thing, like actually making this change. And the whole precursor to that, like the thing that sparked it, was doing annual physicals. It was the first year that we started doing them at our department. And something about seeing it with your numbers, like I had been there before, it felt like I was okay, but something about seeing it on your numbers, your EKG, your readings, having had some experience in doing all those tests and finally like getting it to me, like I'm sitting on that side. And then the conversation that the provider had with me at that time was, hey, it's not if, but when you become diabetic, when you have this heart attack.
Right.
They were talking in such absolutes like that, and I'm like, I can't be mad at this guy. Like, I should know better. I'm in this field. We run these calls from people doing, like, living that style of life, that type of lifestyle. Like, we see the end results. Like, I know this, but it took me seeing my shit. You gotta see your own shit. You seeing your numbers, like, oh, this became, like, this is real. Like, this is the real deal. This is my shit. And this physical in a year from now can go very different, or something can happen between here and there. And so I'm glad that we started doing those. But it makes you also take the position, like you said, like there are a lot of people that will fight that. Like, here's this opportunity for you to just look at the numbers. This is here for you. We provide this for your information, what you do with it, and if you change anything's on you. And just a lot of people just like to fight. That's what firemen do, right? Like somebody somewhere is not going to agree with you. That's half the fun.
Yeah. Ah, man. Everybody's a master too, you know.
Absolutely.
Everybody's an expert.
Yeah.
When did you begin having coaching on your radar? Like, how soon after your own personal journey did you think 5 steps down the road where it was going to be not only helping other people, but possibility being a possibility of a career, a second career?
As I was going through it, literally as I went, that I'd got myself, that wasn't the plan to do coaching. I knew it was 2023, 2022 going into 2023. And I was like, well, by next physical, this one in 2023, I'm going to have my shit figured out. I'm at least going to have these numbers better. And as going through it, of course, I'm doing the research, and that's what I'm falling into. Hey, I'll coach you, you know, all these different things online. You're going to social media, you're looking at YouTube, you're looking at all these different resources. And I'm thinking, I could do this too. I don't have the credentials. You know, I'm not a coach. And so I was like, well, let me go get my coaching cert. Like, we went through medic school. Like, it can't be that bad. And I understand working out. And it wasn't as bad as going through medic school, but I wanted to have the credentials. Again, I wanted to have these traits. I wanted to be able to possess them, to tell people that, you know, I've done this, and I'm credentialed in what I'm telling you to do. I've personally gone through it, and I've got it. What I'm telling you how to get there, like, I've done it myself. And it was one of those things. Like, I wanted to have the cert to say I did it. And
well, if you're gonna preach, it's nice to add some validity to it.
Yeah, you would think you're a doctor, right? You're about to stick your gloved hand up my ass. Like, you've done this before, right? Like, you're cleared for this. Like, this guy's a doctor, right? But that's how I look at it, and because that's what I will hope somebody at least has done in their credential, what they're doing, and I'm taking advice from them. So as I was going through that process, that's just what I did. Now, did I think it was going to turn to a business? No, but we're all firemen. Everybody's got a side gig.
Right.
And I've never branched out. Like I said, I don't want to work a second job. I don't want to do any of that. And then that old saying, you know, if you find something you enjoy, like you'll never have to work another day in your life. Like I feel like I already found that with firefighting, but it's not everything it's cut up to be when it's bad. But here was another thing that was, at the end of the day, the biggest possibility, the worst thing that could happen is it wasn't somebody dying. It wasn't me dying or somebody else. Worst thing that could happen is someone tells you don't know what you're talking about and they go to somebody else.
Or, you know, the best thing, you prevent somebody from dying.
Right.
Years before it happened.
Right. Like it has some positive impact. And so that's been one of the biggest learning lessons from me is like a lot of this, the immediate effects. If you frame it right for the people, if you're guiding them, if you're essentially coaching them what to do, it's because you've been through that process. Like, hey, I'm going to tell you, like, it's going to get real hard at this part, but that's the part where you got to rely on some external accountability. Like, that's what I'm here for as your coach. Like, that's what you need. Like, reach out when you start getting that, and I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to give you the tools you need, so you're not trying to figure it out on the fly. But a lot of people don't have that. You know, they don't have that, and that's why mentorship is important, good leadership, all those things that you need. Same thing with your fighting career. You know, there are obstacles that you get to if someone's trying to do it themselves and just lean on whatever advice, they're going to get to the stopping point. They're not going to have the right advice and the right guidance to go through it. You've got someone who's been there and does it, like this experienced person from this vantage point, and could literally, they have that they've been through it, they feel it, and they talk you through what worked for them, and you connect with them somewhere. You have some shared desire, and you trust that person and their advice, and that gets you through that hurdle. And like, okay, and they could see those things before you see it. That's a great thing about going to someone that's an expert at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of mentorship or guidance is hopefully they alleviate you of making the same mistake that they did.
Yeah.
When you first got into fitness, did you have somebody that you looked up to, like maybe a social channel or something that you realized, oh, I could do this, or I want to be like this?
There were several that I followed that I really liked, but kind of me cherry picking. Like, I really like the way this person explains this. I really like the way this person gives visuals in understanding this route. But there was always that little thing missing for me, like that. Yeah, but this doesn't work. Like, what if my job's this way? Or what if I always felt like there was a little bit of that. And I didn't feel like anybody was speaking particularly to us.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you mean like, for instance, somebody says you need to get 8 hours of sleep, but that's not doable for you, so you had to...
Yeah, all those what if questions that you would probably interject with if you're going to somebody for advice. Like, okay, well, as long as you're sleeping that 8 hours every night consistently, don't have one of these nights where you only get 5 or 6 or 3. If you don't do, like, they're maybe not even seeing it from your vantage point. That was the little bit of disconnect for me. Not that it was wrong, but I just never felt like any of that was speaking directly to me. So I'd pull these things that actually worked. And I've actually tried a lot of these different approaches just through my self-testing phase. You know, over this 20-year span, I've had all these different ways of fitness, these different approaches. Not every one of them works, but there were some things I learned from each one. You know, either going strictly the long distance running route, going the powerlifting route, again, as big and as strong as you need to get, going the vegan route. I did that shit for a couple of years. Now that was insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not just living that, but trying to do that at the firehouse. Trying to go plant-based at the firehouse was an experience.
What made you want to go down that path?
I'd watched the documentary. That's literally all it took. Watch one of these documentaries, and I was in my very liberal mindset maybe at that time, and I thought, aren't we pieces of shit? Like, we're destroying the planet. I can't remember which one it was. It was Forks Over Knives or one of those ones. But I really like documentaries or historical things, and watched this thing. And no shit, the next day I was like, I'm not eating this meat. Like, I don't co-sign on this. Like, this is awful. Fucking slaughtering these animals. Like, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, mate. And it was for me, and I wasn't doing it for like the social justice part of it. I thought, all right, I'm gonna do my part. Like, I need to be able to do this. Cold turkey, like no animal products. Just start running, and I started losing the weight. This shit works, man.
How long did you last?
3.5, almost 4 years.
No shit.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
And boy, did I learn some things. Like, is it good? Yeah, but what's good? Like, what's objectively good for you? I don't know. And for me as a fireman, that's where, all right, this lifestyle works well. It didn't work well for me as a fireman. I just looked like I was going to blow away if the wind blew too hard. I found myself sick more often. I was catching colds, and I never catch colds. We're around sick people all the time. Like, I have this tolerance, right? Nope. Fucked up. Did a lot with my blood and hormone levels because I was getting these super low body fat percentages. And now that we know with the endocrine system, we know a lot of that's fat driven. And based on that, if you get terribly low, well, then that's going to disrupt some of those downstream patterns. Like, that's where I noticed something was up. Wasn't the same me. And I'm like, I'm not going to go back. Like, I've been spending 3 years telling everybody this shit's the right thing to do. Right. And then finding myself, low libido. Like, I was looking like a ghost. I look back on pictures now and I'm like, there's no way. Like, why didn't you tell me? The people around are like, I was walking around like this. You were cool with that? They're like, well, you were good with it. I'm like, fuck, I look like I got the C. I look like I'm HIV patient. Like, I'm pretty advanced in some of these things. I think the thing that really hit me on the head is, laying in bed with my wife. She's like, you're like floating in the sheets. You're like, there's nothing here.
Yeah, well, like you said, add a little feather in your cap too. At least you've been down that road. You tried it. You assessed that plan, and now you can speak to it. Yeah,
and I can speak on a lot of those topics, and I feel just going through that personally, I feel like when I frame things that, hey, my experience was this is what happened. You could say all the shit you want. If it's a lived experience that you've done, that's objectively true. Yeah, because you've done it. Well, this was my experience. Now, if you're trying to tell somebody to change something, I think that holds a lot more weight if you frame it correctly. Does that make sense?
For sure. When you first started your programs, were you focusing on firefighters who had those asterisks with the sleep, with the schedule, or was it all inclusive? You wanted to coach anybody who seemed to have the motive to change?
It was not. And actually, one of the things I did not want to do was concentrate on first responder stuff. I did not want to lean in that I was a fireman. I did not want to lean in onto, like, that was your target avatar or audience. That wasn't it. I just wanted to see if I could coach somebody through doing some of these simple principles. Weight loss is one of the places I found myself. And then I just found myself, just because I'd be giving my personal testimony and talking about what worked for me and things that I went through, that I'm on these talking points, and then the algorithm starts algorithming. and I'm finding myself with a lot of like-minded people, and that's where it really resonates. And I wouldn't say that's my target audience, but that ends up who I coach a lot of.
Yeah. Well, especially with like looking at your Instagram, your social media, a lot of it you're on with the SCBA, working out, which is kind of a great niche because you're helping people that help other people. Yeah. And you're also finding solutions that might be outside the box for these guys.
Yeah. That was something I was pretty hard line. Not that I would expect anybody to go back and be like, oh, okay, well, there's none of that here. And all of a sudden you start seeing firefighter stuff and all that. Because I was really, really cautious even doing social media to let people know that's what I do. Like, I want to do this because, I was able to bring these results. I don't want it being the halo effect just because I'm a fireman.
Right.
I'm fit. You're kind of playing into that a lot. I wanted this to be on the merit of my own work type thing. But what I learned that process when I started having an introspective look at it is like, well, if I'm going to be myself and be completely genuine, which I feel like is something lacking, especially in the fitness industry, like, this is what I am. Like, this is what I do. I cannot just cut out this whole third of what I actually do and not put that out there. Now, if the halo effect works for that, that's going to catch some people's attention. But it wasn't just because of that. I was like, I need to be transparent and be genuine. That's always kind of been my face forward thing. Like, I want to share my culture, like what I do as a person. I have a very public profile, but my life is very private. And so I'll share the things. I'm very focused on what I put out there and controlling that narrative, I guess you can say.
Did you, when you first started doing social media, did you receive a lot of pushback, like from your personal community within the fire department?
No, and my biggest fear, seriously to this day, my biggest reason for not doing that, and I had to get to the point where I was like, I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck. I was so scared of, I wasn't worried about firemen. I wasn't worried about first responders. I wasn't worried about that. I was like, what would my people think? Like, it scares me to death to think that even one person will comment and say some shit about my lineage or my culture. Honestly, that's what stopped me all these years. And I eventually got to the point where I was like, I don't give a fuck. If I'm being me, if I'm just going to be 100% genuine, I'm going to do me. I'm not going to step outside my lane. I'm not going to work outside of my scope. I'm going to do what I do and share that. And it's been the complete opposite. Anytime I do venture out and try to do things for my culture, it's always been, it surprised me to this day. It was warm reception. It wasn't what I thought it would be. And I feel like we talk ourselves out of most things. And I get to see that all the time. That was one of the things with firefighting stuff too. So I was always worried about, hey, what if you see it? What if somebody says this to me at work? Like, we all do that. Oh, this podcast is stupid. You know, like you think of that, but a lot of times that's what holds you up for you taking that step. Yeah, I get to that point where like, either they like it or they don't.
Yeah, and we're all smart enough to know that it's negative when people say that, but also it can still affect you.
Yeah, I think if you understand and know where to put weight where it belongs, that's one of the things that social media has conditioned me to do. Is you can really get down in the weeds. You can read into every comment and you could let it destroy your day. You really can. But you're also like reading comments all day. Like, what are you doing? So you could either let it have that effect on you or you don't. And I think I heard somebody say this the other day, and it really, really made sense. It was like, if you were to just go up to a billionaire and tell them, you're poor, dude, like whatever, like what is their natural response going to be? They're just going to chuckle at you. Like, they're not going to defend what they are. They are what they are. Like, okay, sure. You can yell at a fit person all you want. Like, you're such a fat ass. Like, you're disgusting. Like, you should go and work out. Person's in shape. It's like, what are they usually going to do? Probably just chuckle about it. But it's that time where it actually sticks. You know, you see that change in their face. We all play this at work too. Like, we're trying to find like what gets under this guy's skin. As soon as we know that, like, that's what we're turning up. Yeah. It's the same thing, like with the comments and all that. Like, if this actually registers, like, why? Why did that register?
So did you struggle with reading comments initially?
No, I wouldn't say that was, because a lot of it was actually pretty refreshing. Like, wow, I'm actually, like, people, like, this is making a difference. But you gotta approach that side of it too, like the good with the bad. Like, I'm glad this helped you, but I really want it to help you, and I may never know if it does. Like, this comment's great, and I look at it more as feedback. And what I'm learning, if you can make some polarizing content, that's actually better. It's actually better, and you don't ever want it to be so one-sided. You don't want it to be everything is good. I don't know if that's going to be polarizing enough. You want to get to the spot, they call it niching down. So I'm learning in the social media space. When you cultivate this following, but eventually they call it taking a stance. You need to plant your flag, take your stance, and actually start causing some of that division, because that's actually where you're going to get your actual diehard crowd. Is you're going to be this person that says this shit that they can't say. You're going to be this person that puts out these ideas and takes that risk, and you then become the spokesperson for this group of people. They call it the cult following. And that's how you do it. It's by planting your flag. And so, if you have this polarizing content, it's to naturally drive that narrative and that conversation in the comments with your content. It's whatever. But a man that has no enemies, has all friends, is basically an enemy to himself type thing. And that's really what I'm learning with social media. I'm really starting to not get more friends, but I'm starting to put more spicy stuff out there.
Yeah, was there like an initial post or moment that you can recall that was like, I don't want to post this, but I have to take the next step?
I was, going through this process. I have hired business mentors and coaches and stuff like that. And one of the ones I can recall, a really good coach, because if you're scared before you post something, like you're really nervous and like, oh, this is like you're about to send that risky text at 2 a.m. It's kind of like that feeling. Post it. Like, that's when you know it's right. If you're like, oh, this, like, I'm not worried at all. It's just gonna turn into slop. It's gonna blend in with every other post out there. But when you start doing shit like that, like I'm putting myself out there. Like I'm going to be so genuine. Like this scares the shit out of me. That's the shit you post. And surprisingly enough, that's the stuff you get a reaction out of. If that's a goal, and if you're authentically, wholeheartedly, like truly being authentic and speaking how you feel, it's such a powerful thing. But it's to get over that thing.
Yeah, that's one thing I was telling Allie about, like how much I appreciate her posting. And it almost sounds like a backhanded compliment, but it's really not. It's like when you're posting a video at 6 a.m. without your makeup and you're talking about something, to me that's amazing, because I know there's other people out there judging you and saying, oh, who the does this person think they are? You know, oh, they look like shit, they're doing this wrong. And even with fitness, you know, it's like this guy's posting a video eating food at the firehouse and then he has the bells go off. Like, what a try hard. But the truth is, you're out there trying.
Yeah.
You know, and ultimately, like you said, you find your cult following and your reach. And if you do even help one person, it's worth it.
Oh, man. And I think anybody in the motivational space or in that space in general, I think what changes it is if you learn that there's one person that you inspire, just one, you have no excuse to ever quit doing what you're doing. There's somebody like that should be, or like if you've never gotten actual real life feedback that you've had an effect on somebody, I can see that eventually getting people to fold. Fuck, man, I've been posting podcasts for 10 years. I've never got positive content. Like, I've never met somebody that was impacted by something I said. That I think that would be a lot different. But to actually meet somebody, and if you haven't had that experience already, like, just wait. Like, it happens. I think that changes it all for you. So when you get that negative feedback or whatever, you're like, as long as I know what like my North Star, like the whole reason I'm doing this is maybe to get somebody to not do X, Y, Z. And I met somebody that's the exact effect it had. Like, I will never quit. I met this person that I'd be letting them down on that front. And that's how it is for me. So I get enough of that feedback. I know directly people, you know, if I'm coaching them, whatever, but I've gotten just people pouring out their heart and soul on how maybe something I said or something I did. And I think that gives you all the reason and kind of takes that excuse away for you to quit. Like, you have somebody that you're giving something. Why would you quit on them? And I feel like firemen have that intuitively.
Yeah, I say too, I'm like, I pray for the day I wake up and I have a negative comment because I know I've made it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of those mentors had told me, like, if you don't have enough of that bad shit on there, it wasn't a good post. Like, it wasn't. Like, you'll have your cult following, maybe that's it. Like, you start getting stuff like that's when you know, all right, I'm on to something.
Yeah.
I need to spark some conversation. And I think that's such a cool sign. Like, they don't measure that metric. But you start getting them. Like, yeah.
Do you remember what it was like the first time you woke up and you checked your Instagram and had 100,000 views on a video? Like, what did that feel like?
As foreign as it seems, I actually had a little bit of experience of it before I started doing my current social media. This is back when, like, TikTok. This is pre-COVID TikTok. This is TikTok when it was like Dancely, or it was some other app, whatever. This is like back in the day.
Not Vine, right?
It wasn't Vine.
Okay.
No. Had messed around a little bit with the TikTok world back in the day, but it had started doing videos, just simple 1, 2, 3, stop, drop, roll. Just like I wanted, like, kid-friendly stuff. And one of them things went crazy. And there wasn't as much like creator stuff, like social media stuff out then. You know, you probably get a lot more creators talking about how to and experiences. But, you know, I walk up to this video and it had like 8 million views. Like, is that right? Like, that can't be right. Like, I just posted this thing yesterday. Like, what is this? And all these ads and stuff. That was one of the moments. The first thing I did is it scared the shit out of me. Like, I need to delete this.
Right.
It was really the first thing. I was doing firefighter stuff, whatever. Like, my job's gonna can me. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't do anything bad in the video, but I'm gonna get, like, shit. Be careful. Like, you do it for attention if that's what you're doing it for. Well, what if you get the attention? Like, then what? It was one of those things of just throwing it out there. And so I had gone through that experience a number of years ago, and when that type of stuff started happening on my current Instagram, it was neat, but it's also like, oh, that's the one. Like, okay, like that. Wow, like, that's how it works. You know, you don't plan on it being something that you feel would resonate, get hundreds of thousands or millions of views, and you do. And for me, I was like, just so I consider myself blessed. Like, all right, if that's the one, it was like a coaching one. I did, it was like a really silly one, like 8, 9, 10 seconds long, whatever. I'm sitting there eating when I was at my largest. And then I just did a little transition video to where I was currently in shape, you know. And then the transition happened right at the drop of this song. Shout out Roddy Ricch, man. I've made so many viral videos to that instrumental. And it just resonated with people. And the message I put on there was, hey, I learned the hard way. Like, don't do what I did. Now I teach other people. Like that was it. And I was so glad it was something like that, not something stupid I did like back in the day. I'm also glad they didn't have cell phones when we were kids.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Holy shit. Holy poop.
So much dumb shit.
Yeah. But it was in that instance, because I'm more intentional about stuff I'm putting out there. Like, I'm really thinking about things before I hit send. Trying to think of it from those angles. I was like, good. I could stand on that shit. And I feel like even today, like when I post something, like I can stand on it. Like I'm live by this, because you know, once it's out there on the internet, it's out there. So if I do think I'm maybe flying off of the hinge or whatever, I'll set it and let me come back to this in a day or two, see if I feel the same, like if I'm good with it.
So did you feel like a sense of accomplishment with this new Instagram and your new social media, or did it, I mean, how did it change your life and impact it when you started getting consistent, like, million views?
I think if you have a purpose, like the intent, I would really boil everything down to its intent, especially on something that is considered shallow, like Instagram, right? It's initially like just a really shallow place. But and I'll tell this to my people, like, all right, if you're posting a pic, this person may think it's a thirst trap, like, wholeheartedly. This person may see, this is a progress pic, like, good progress, bro. But what's the difference between someone taking their shirt off and it's, you know, the sound or whatever? Like, was this intended to be a thirst trap, or were you intending to inspire somebody? And that's how I look at it. So every day, as long as I know I'm not coming from a selfish place, like, I'm posting this and hopefully somebody sees what my intent was. Like, I hope that's what you get, because that was my intent. That's always kind of been my thing from what I'm posting now. And so I'm okay with taking a bit of risk. Like, my intent is, like, I want you to think. I want you to ask questions. I want you to think about yourself. Like, maybe you're not in shape. And you had brought that up earlier. Like, I don't feel like I'm the type to be like, dude, you should be embarrassed. Hit the fucking gym. Like, I'm not that guy. There are people out there, that's their approach. Mine is, I'd rather you see something, engage with it, and be like, and then think, fuck, am I that guy? Like, does this register? And one of the ones I did here recently was just, I was just clipping another video of these first responders on a soccer field, right? And they're running, and they're not in the best shape. But then they're taking so long to get there. The soccer player runs up to them, takes the EMS bags, and they sprint to the scene. And I don't know the context behind all that, but it was a great visual. And then I put on there, hey, you don't need to be an athlete to save lives, but I'm training underneath it, because I would consider ourselves athletes. And so it got a ton of response. I wasn't doing it to make people that are high calorie humans to get triggered. That wasn't the point. The point was, especially for some of that service based, is you are an athlete, like, and you should be ready to respond. If you're a first responder, you should be the first one responding, right? What do you think? And I'm not telling them directly, but hopefully indirectly they're catching the undertones, and that, I feel like that's what I try to do, messaging that way.
So growing up analog, as you said, was it hard at first to make that leap? You know, you started coaching. Did you know that eventually social media was the only way to go? Or was it kind of hard and difficult for you at first to be like, now I got to be on my phone for a few hours a day making content?
I'm learning.
Did you enjoy that initially, or was it a struggle?
I enjoy the creative process. I enjoy the creating part, but that's where I'm getting to now, is like, well, you have a finite amount of time in the day. And I can't be here on my phone. And I got to a part where it's just so busy that you're looking for ways to not cut corners on the creative side, but still be able to get your messaging out without it, like, working against you. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense of me as a fitness coach if all my time is spent content creating and doing the business side, and I got zero time to do fitness shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm here in my workout gear because I was like, I had a couple of interviews. I got some exciting projects that I'm working on. Did those, and I was like, well, I haven't worked out today. I don't have time. Like, I'm going to go work out and just go to the podcast straight after. But some people, they just get to that point. They're so busy. You maybe lose sight of why you're doing it. And as much as I like helping other people, it was really my thing, my transformation thing, and the thing that I tell people to do, and stick into it. So I don't ever want to lose sight of that being, I don't want ever to be this thing to where that's it, and I don't have time for other things that are actually important,
What was like your family impact with all of this? Like from your wife and kids, was it an interesting conversation with them? Were they really supportive at first? Or were they kind of nervous about you putting yourself out there?
Oh, they didn't know, really. It was kind of hush hush. Like, I didn't want them to be like, oh, he's doing social media stuff. I just started doing it. First person, before I started profiles or posting or doing any of that, the first person I had a conversation with was my wife. And I can remember the confidence crawling up because I, was out of shape, and I was starting to get there to where you're like, oh, well, shit, mirror selfies, and maybe get to the point where you're doing shirtless, like, all right, look before and after, like, this looks good. Is I remember taking pictures before I started my Instagram, and looking back at it, I'm like, I should wait a couple more months, but get a little bit more lean. But I sent that to her. I was like, are you okay with this? Like, this is the type of stuff that's like motivating me when I see it. And I'm like, this works, right? So the gym, you got the pump pick, the post-workout pick, you got the flex pick. I'm like, are you okay with this? Like, I've got to do this. Like, this is what gets attention. This is what gets people talking. This is what, I know you got to be fitness-ish, learn so many lessons from that. But my wife was always okay with it. Like, she knows the intent. She was like, I don't care if you sell feet pics. Like, if you can make money off this stuff, great. They're like, well, that's not the intent, but the money part would be great. But I'm doing this, and we're at just such a good space in our marriage. We're going on 20 years of marriage now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you. It feels like 40 people. Just kidding, hon. But like, we have this understanding to where, it's really how people think. Like, oh man, you're pretty thirst trappy. Like, oh, that was a thirst trap. No, it wasn't. It may surprise you if you just done a little bit of digging. Like, I'm very, very married. Like, that's not the thing. That's not my game. Like, that's not what I'm in it for. And my intent was to like get you to think about how great it would be to be 40 and in shape. Wouldn't that be great? Like, look at this guy. Like, look at me. And if that's if that's the DM that comes in, it's like, I don't even respond. Now, there's just so many of them. Like, I don't respond. It's a delay. It's no interaction.
I can't imagine what your DMs are.
And warning, fellas, like, you think you're going to get a lot of, if you're looking for the female gaze, no, it's mostly the dudes. There's nothing wrong with that, but you would be surprised. I always thought that was a joke. It is so true. That they will shoot their shot. I think they're very smart in their approach. I guess if you just break it down to simple numbers, if you shoot 1 million shots, one of them bitches is going to hit. So it's just a numbers game. A law averages. You shoot enough of those out there, somebody's going to answer a DM.
So your
just
DMs
not going to be me.
Are full of homosexuals rather than females.
There'll be a lot of, I don't know what their orientation is, but certain comments and hard eyes and certain emojis from another man, I would think that's probably what they're interested in, and that's not my thing.
Well, if that's your game out there, folks, start a fitness channel.
Yeah, you should.
If you're a male looking for male love.
But I only position that as like, all right, and I have young men, so I feel like I could speak on this a bit. When I tell them, you heard my son asking about workout stuff. I was like, if that's your goal, just be ready. You're going to get a lot more of the male attention that way. I don't think women truly care about that up front. It is important. But I think the important thing is that you show that you can control your body and that you've been through something hard and that you're willing to off-put instant gratification. You put yourself through something and you came out the other side. That's what you should take this as, son. And I feel like that's what women are attracted to. Like, you did this thing.
Women are smart enough, too, to know if they're going to DM a fitness influencer and the guy replies and meets up with them, you're probably not the only one. And that's not generally what women usually go after. The majority of them want like a solid, a steady, you know? So I could see that being the truth. It's like you're probably not going to cleave a lot of single females who want to hook up. That's more of a male thing.
And I'm so out of the loop. Like dating culture is so different. I've been out the game. I hung the jersey up decades ago. The landscape has changed. So I am almost fearsome for my sons. I have teenagers. I've got one in college and one's getting ready to graduate high school. Just the landscape is way different for them. And so I can speak on things, that I went through at that dating age, but it's completely different now. Like go to a bar, like you learn some dance moves, learn how to shake that leg, and that's so analog to them. It really is. It's not. It's like, okay, how many followers do you got, or what? What? Surprisingly, like that's important. Like, yeah, that's social cred, bro. Like that's it. Like for this new gen now, it means nothing.
Yeah, it's wild, especially wild being 31 and experiencing both sides of it.
Yeah.
Like practically, what type of clients do you treat, and what are like the steps that you initially take with somebody if they want to receive coaching from you?
Great question. So typically it starts off with maybe some piece of content. It's all the funnel them back and doing like a one-on-one thing, just like we do in the medical field. I feel like if you do a proper assessment and then your treatment modality that you go down. All right, is this a stroke? Is this a heart attack? Is this guy bullshitting? Is this, what is this? And that's, I use a lot of those same approaches just when it comes to my fitness stuff. Like, I don't know anything about you. Like, I need to know at least an assessment. So I always start everything with an assessment. Now, what's working? What's not? Let's figure out your schedule.
Most of these intakes an online thing. Yeah, do you do any in-person type stuff?
It's all strictly online. I don't coach in person. I'll meet up with people and work out with them, but I don't. I knew that's what I wanted to do from the jump. So I don't want to be able to have to sell hour for hour. Like time is already my thing. Like time's limited. I don't have a whole lot of it. So here's this online platform where you can, you've got tools and stuff now to where you can automate things. And that's how I did it. I basically went on YouTube, watched these videos. Like that's where I got the instruction, and I'd follow these forum videos and tracked it on my own. But I knew you had to have some type of system up, and the internet never sleeps. And so time can't really be the thing. Like, all right, here's the requirements. Like you need to know this and then track this, and that's where accountability comes in. So generally that assessment to get them in, they could do something that's done with them, or they do by themselves. It really depends on their, what do they need? Do you need fitness? Do you need your calories looked at? But I do a full assessment, especially with my one-on-one people, and find out, all right, where's the gap? And what we do is we try to find out how to simplify things, and able to lose 30 pounds in 90 days without the burnout. Like that's the point. I feel like anybody can lose the weight, but you want to be burned out at the end of the day. You want to be optimal. Like what do you want? You can lose the weight. You're going to hate me as a coach if you want to do it in a month, It's really like ethics of how you plan to run your business. Can we do something one way? I don't ever want to overpromise and underdeliver. I want to overdeliver.
So as far as platforms, because I heard you talking to your son about an app.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come to you and I want coaching, you send me to a different, like a website or an app, and then do you follow me through that, or how are you Skyping these people? How does it all work?
Great question. So I have my own fitness app. It's the Tautua Fitness app. And so on this app, it's kind of like the central hub of training. So we get you on this app. That's where I deliver your workouts. Like you get a to-do list. You get your workouts. It has all the exercises. There's videos that show you. There's written instruction. But that's like the workout part. Well, how do we know you do it? Well, we track. You're tracking what you do, and then I follow a lot of the biometrics that go with it. You're stepping on a scale. We're measuring your heart rate. I incorporate a lot of sleep and rest and recovery into it. So we've got to be able to track your sleep somehow. Most people got a smart watch, or they have a Withings app. Like we have to track your sleep.
And is this data getting sent to you through the app?
Yeah, and so there's a lot of
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of third-party apps. I'd have to give you a good example. Apple Watches, all these things track. There's some type of data, and we're able to pull all that data in. And we're looking at all these different variables in looking at the objective information we're going back, subjective, and that's what we're making the adjustments for with our people. Okay, so all right, if you're burning yourself to the core, but you're reporting that your energy levels are low and this and that. Well, you look at your sleep, you've got shit sleep the last 3 days. No, you're overextending, you're pushing yourself, and that's where the guidance is as far as the coaching part, is we try to anticipate some of those things for them. I always feel like first responders are probably the hardest people to coach for me, because it's not ever the same. It's not what works for Joe Smith may not work for you, but that's where you need the guidance, and we find the adjustment that works for them and get that program to fit them. But we track all those metrics. I think that would make the most sense. Like, I don't think it'd be an ethical or a right thing to do, to tell you to do something, not really track any of the data.
Sure. And with technology now, you have that capability of doing that.
It's a great part of that. I'm trying to pull up one of my guys here. And so hopefully you can see it, but this is like the dashboard, right? We got heart rate, body weight tracking. They measure their body fat percentage. Steps is a huge thing that I track. If they're logging their food, we can see their calorie intake, caloric burn. We do photos, so I'll do a visual assessment. If this is an aesthetics thing, I concentrate a lot on posture and, really posture driven, especially for our people. Like, all right, you got a little bit of a shoulder lead, sleep. I'm going to get on his ass. What is this? An hour and 17 minutes of sleep? No, I'm getting on his ass. But you can see how we track all that. And
this dude just got blown up.
Yeah.
On Solve4y.
I didn't mean to blow his ass up on here. Nutrition. We set schedules on here. We can message each other.
Are all these videos things you've created?
Yes. Some of them come in with part of the platform, but a lot of that is stuff that I had to have sent out and done. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the actual videos of the recipes being done. That was all stuff that was a big investment on my part to get that in, to be part of the coaching part. But here's what I learned is, like, that's something I spent a lot of resources on getting, but that's not what actually people see the results from. It's helpful to see, and it's a great sales point. Like, oh, look, I get to show you these. But that's
sketchy.
It helps, but as you're using it, what I'm learning, it's some of these other variables that we're tracking and following up with and giving them feedback that they can see. Like for me, that moment was when I saw my stuff at my physical, when I see the change, when you see that weight going down, and we see that plateau, and we see that after that check-in, and we start seeing more progress, then it becomes very real if you can follow it and track it to your real data and get the actual feedback live with us.
So who helped you build this app and curate it?
So there's a ton of different platforms out there. I've been on this one about 3 years. There's a ton of different platforms out there that you can utilize that give you the foundation of the app, and then you are customizing it to your platform or your branding. And I'm able to add over the past 3 years, been able to add a lot more of my stuff that's niche to my clients. And now with people being able to build an app, with a prompt,
yeah.
the game is changing. But as long as you've got this way that you're tracking, these are some of the things I've learned that you've got to have. It's regardless of if you're using a fancy app or not. If you have three things, if you have the correct fitness approach for what you're doing, you have the exercise. You have to have that. It's got to make sense for what your goal is, right? I wouldn't put you through a jiu-jitsu training style program if your goal is to run a marathon. You wouldn't train a sprinter the same way you would, a shot put thrower. Very different. The goal's got to match up for the physical approach. You got to have the nutrition. And that's going to be based on how you respond to what's worked well, what hasn't, and also the demands of your job. And are you in a hypertrophy program? Are you in a weight loss? Are you in an endurance thing? Like, what is it? That needs to make sense. And then the other thing a lot of people don't factor in is you have to have accountability. External accountability. It cannot be self-driven. The people I've seen that have the most success, you've got to have some type of external accountability. It means somebody else has to know about it. You have to take that risk and let somebody else know what your goal is, and then they got to hold your ass to the flame, your feet to the flame. They have to be the ones that reiterate. I thought you said you want to do this, man. Why are you not doing this? You said. That's got to be there. And when you have those three things matched up, that's where people see the results that I've learned on my end. And it's been such a huge thing, because if any one of those things is missing, it's Can you do it? Yeah, sure. It just may take you longer. You may have to learn these lessons over and over and over again, but I don't feel like that's the best way to learn it. I've learned a lot of that the hard way, and I'm just hoping that you don't have to go through it in that extent over the past 10, 15 years.
And are there levels to your app where if you just want to subscribe and get like a basic set of videos, nutrition, and then is one-on-one, I hate to say extra, like it's a monetary transaction only, but do people take, like they start on the app and then they might say, okay, Kia, I'd like to go one-on-one for a couple times a month, stuff like that? So
that's something we built on the app. There is, I'm learning this is just like different learning styles. Some people just want to know what to do. I don't need a constant follow-up. Like, just give me this, and I want to be able to log it and track it and do it myself and check in when I need it. Like, that's what I learned. Like, there's this set of people. There's other people that need it done with them. You know, they need one-on-one time. They need more of that cultivation. They need to be able to get feedback that's just got to do with them. And other people do well in like a group setting. Like, all right, I want to do this all by myself, but I want to be able to hop in and do this as a team with a group. And so we do different tiers like that, where it's like, done by yourself, done with others, or you need one-on-one. And each of those, depending on what you're doing, could be different on the investment side for you, because it's your time you're investing, but also, all right, we've got to spend more time, one-on-one time with this. You can do this here with a group, and some of the stuff is, follow that. But if you want to stop it for us to meet one-on-one and spend more time, it depends on how much you value your time. You know,
what's been the most overwhelming part with all of the business side?
I think it's not having all the answers, jumping out and hopping into an online business or some type of space. Just like getting into anything where you're putting yourself out there. Like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Is this ready? And the only way you really do that is you test that against the market. And you test you validate your offer, so to speak. That's what I'm learning from what I do in the online space is, all right, anybody can have an offer, but has it been validated? Like, does it work? Meaning the thing you're promising to help people with, has it been done before? And this is a process replicable. And is there proof? And I've learned you got to have a lot of that social proof. You got to be able to validate your offer. You got to be able to follow through on things that you give. Because one of the things for me was like everybody's got some kind of scheme. Like, have you done this before? Like, I don't fucking believe you. Like, show me the proof. And I never want to be that person that I literally put my name. Like, that's why my name is. I'll put it out there. I'll stand on anything I post. I'll stand on anything I say. If we get you through this, and it's not going to be because I didn't show up. I'm going to give you everything you need. And that's kind of where I come at it from a business standpoint. It's been a little bit frustrating because you feel like you don't have the infrastructure and you don't know how the know-how. But if you sit around and wait for that to come, you may never do it. Learn from the mistakes that you made. It's been a big learning curve, and there's still a whole lot to roll out, and the landscape's always changing. This AI thing is both incredible and incredibly scary at the same time.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I had a couple guys in here who trade, and they're like automating some of that stuff with AI. And for me, I get pretty overwhelmed with it, but I know I can't let it leave me behind either.
I listened into that episode. I thought it was really cool how, some people just have it. They could see where these things, if you implement them correctly, could benefit, and they got the technical know-how to go ahead and deploy those things. I thought that was so neat, and the wild success that they've had has been huge.
Yeah, and like how, TJ was sitting over there and he's like real excited about it. Totally different mindset than me. I'm a lot of times when I'm jacking with AI, it's because I know I have to.
Yeah.
And for him, he's just like, he can't wait for the next AI to come out. But they're also 8 years younger. So
there's definitely a generational gap on how it's going to be received. What is your stand? I mean, you say you don't really like.
It's not that I don't like it. It's I love it, and we just built a website and I did it all via prompts on Claude, and it turned out incredible. But I just, I always in high school, I thought I was going to do graphic design and build websites, and I was in a band, and so I built a lot of MySpace layouts for bands. And, I'd learn like CSS and HTML, and then XHTML came out.
Yeah. And
now I just constantly think like, dude, thank God I didn't go in that, because now anybody, Joe Schmo with a laptop, can build something way better than I could do in Photoshop in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I probably would have adapted and I would have just streamlined the process. But yeah, to me, it's just scary. It's not like a hate relationship, but it's overwhelming is the best way to describe it, because I know I don't want to be left behind. You know, I have to figure this out. And even like, I don't know how you feel about crypto, but it's just kind of fun talking to like my parents about crypto, and they have like no idea. It's all a scam. And I'm like, dude, when I'm 60, my kids might get paid in crypto. And you're telling me it's a scam, and it's like a total, you know, it's like a generational transition.
Yeah.
So to me, that part is extremely nerve-wracking. But I know I have to dive into it and figure it out, especially if you want to do anything with social media.
Social media and just really, that's kind of where the world's going. I was real surprised to learn in learning more about this AI stuff on how it's already been deployed. Like, if you don't think AI hadn't already been out there and I've been consuming it in some form or format, that's very naive. And so, given your background being in design and all that, I would think that having some understanding of what actually is going on, like a base knowledge, may even give you some insights on some of the patterns and some of the ways to implement it into your business. Although I could see it being very overwhelming too, because they're like, well, where does it go from here? Like, well, what's next, and how can I get ahead of this thing?
You weren't in the military, were you?
No.
See, a lot of the guys that I interact with they say that like some of the stuff we have access to now, they had access to like 10 years ago. So everything's like 10 years behind that we're getting at this level, this layman level that we're at.
Yeah.
So scary, dude.
I think that's always been my initial thought. It's because so what's coming to market, this is like a consumer ready level, and we know most technology, the fringe of it, or actually the ground that's being broke, we know is happening on the military development side. And I'm like, okay, well, if this is what they're letting me have, what do they have? And this shit is good, man. Have you seen some of these clips? Like, dude, can you believe what I did? Yeah, but that's what they're letting you have.
Have you seen any of the clips of Benjamin Netanyahu recently?
No.
Oh my God, crazy. There's like one. We pulled the one in the coffee shop, Bibi Netanyahu. They're trying to like do this false flag, I think, where they want to pretend he's dead. But so they've been releasing these videos that are like obviously AI, but they want you to think that they're doing it to trick you. I don't know. You know, with the whole Iran shit going on.
You know, this is very generational too, because they say the boomers, like, they'll see some of this AI stuff, which is obviously fake, and they're taking it to heart. You know, some of the Facebook crowd. Yeah. And my mom's in her 70s, and
I can't imagine.
She'll see some shit like, Mom, that cats cannot fight kung fu. I don't know what video that you saw. That's not a.
I know,
but
dude.
That is what AI was made for. Like, this is what it was made for. We have.
Here we go. Watch the liquid in the coffee cup on this one. See how it doesn't spill?
So did you know, watching this, that this was probably AI?
I don't know. It just got exposed to me through listening to podcasts. But like, you see how it went back and it was full again?
Yeah.
He took a drink and it was full again. And then I think there's a part where he lifts it up here at the end and it doesn't spill.
Yeah, right now it's...
Can you translate this? Is this Hawaiian?
Oh, my Hebrew is pretty dusty. If that's what he's speaking, I don't know.
It even
look at it, like
half of it,
out,
yeah, half of it's not moving on like the top. See, it doesn't move, dude.
But this is so good.
It's so good. Well, you can even tell, like, in his face. His face to me looks very fake. Yeah.
You know, from the first kind of AI renditions, I think the famous one is like Will Smith, where he's like eating a bowl of spaghetti or something. That was one of the ones. Like, they were so proud to get that out. It was very, you know, AI-ish, and it was way off. And they're like, they showed the side-by-side like a year later on how realistic it looks. I mean, the timing, the physics, like all the way, the camera angles and how it follows is so much better in a year's time. And these things are learning, self-evolving too. Like, they're just getting better. They're learning from feedback. It's so good.
It's so great. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's funny you said that about your mom, because my dad, he's like just getting into Facebook, and he'll send me shit and he'll be like, this is insane. And I'm like, Dad, that's not real. That's a dolphin with boxing gloves on knocking out.
You see what they got these dolphins doing? Like, this is insane. Like, what is this world coming to? Dad, I'd hate to break it to you.
Or he says like car accidents where like someone flips out and walks away. He's like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's not real, man.
It's so that's where it gets. It's like, okay, to what point, how good this is. We know that there's safety measures and stuff for what we have available to us. On it being deployed in another route. Watching that video made me think back. I went back and just found the other day that I didn't know I hit the setting on my Facebook. I noticed I started getting a lot more traffic from these different countries. One of them being like Brazil and some of these Latin American countries. And I thought, well, I'm very culturally ambiguous. Maybe it's because I look a certain way. It turns out my videos are being automatically transcribed into these foreign languages, Portuguese and Espanol.
Portuguese.
And like I don't watch those videos. Like I'm watching them in English, and so I ended up finding one of these videos the other day, and I'd never seen it. It's automatically getting translated, and it's my face in these foreign languages, it's my tone, and it's my mouth moving to these foreign languages, and this is automatically done. And I'm like, when did I start doing that? I'll have to show you.
Yeah, you'll have to find it and send it to me.
I reposted it and I showed it to my wife. She was like, "You speak Portuguese?" I'm like, "No, this is AI. This is automatically done." And that's okay. I hit this setting. Like, I made this thing happen. It's getting so good. Who's to say, somebody doesn't send my wife a video and it's me telling her, "Hey, fuck off," blah, 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 blah. If they wanted to come in and really cause havoc.
They probably will at some point.
You know what I'm saying?
It may
like,
not be that, but
maybe my mind's racing, but I feel like that's the actual warfare. Like, that's the level where can we differentiate between what is real and what is not? Like, are we going to have is there a watermark, or, like, what is it?
Yeah. Have you ever been scrolling through and seen one of your videos reposted by another account?
I have.
That's got to be pretty wild.
It's a little bit scary. I've seen them done in different languages. Just reposting it. I'm like, well, simple tag or whatever. And I get it. That's what people do. If they find something that's popping, you can screen record it. There's so many different ways. People are so good at it. I've noticed that Meta's got a lot of safeguards in place. Everything's AI. Everything's ran before AI, before it posts. It's analyzed. They'll pick up on, they do copywriting for videos. I just got verified here recently. I don't know if that's just part of being verified or what happens with every video, but they're really, really fortuitous about copywriting for music rights, like where's the monetization goes, and they run the videos through the same format. And so now if they find something that matches mine to an nth degree, it'll give me a notice and then give me the choice on what I want to do with that video. So somebody reposts, camera records or whatever, and it's just enough like my video, they can say it's a certain percentage match, and then give me the option of what to do. I either claim rights on it, block it, take it down, but that's just what they're catching on their platform.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought
they do an overlay, or something, they might never catch it.
Yeah, it's like, all right, this one's like a 97% match of your video. Do you want to claim rights on this? And I am learning so much.
Yeah.
It's scary, but it's also very like what you can do with it. If you use it for good, I think it would be a really good thing. I can't find that video, but it scared the crap out of me.
Have you recruited any help for your business yet?
On the technology side?
On any side. Have you ever had people that you're like, man, I do need another fitness? I was going to lead into like if you've ever thought about brick and mortar. So I didn't know if you've started to look at expansion. With stuff getting this big, you either catch the roller coaster on the way up, or you just leave it as it is, or if you'd like to plateau someplace and keep it at that, or what your mindset is for that.
I feel like from a business perspective, the more I gotta make another round so we can go through another bowl. I feel like that would be a little bit of a different approach for me on the business side, because brick and mortar is going to be a whole new set of overhead. You got to rent a place, you got to maintain it, lights, you got to fill it with people. But if I find this process online that I'm able to replicate and scale, I'm at that level in my business now where I'm trying to scale it. Would need to bring in some help. But this AI thing is kind of changing some stuff. So do I bring in somebody to help me with content? Do I bring in somebody to help me with coaching clients and giving them a little bit of a heads up? Like, where is it? And I'm finding that even just in this last month or so with AI dropping, or like Anthropic dropping a lot of these agents. There's a ton of that stuff because I am in the online space that I may not need another person to come in and do things. It's a little scary, but I'm also like, okay, now what do I do with this? I don't know if I ever want to go into the brick and mortar. A person that would be great, but I would need to be at a spot in my business where I could allocate funds and take on a whole new risk and like a whole different business model in my sense, because a lot of it is like, I believe in the online approach is very, very useful, and it's so is brick and mortar. You got to go and physically do it, but from where I am in my business, I think the online model is going to be a little bit better to replicate and scale.
Yeah, I think brick and mortar too. For me, like if I had a business like yours, I think it would be just something cool too. And if you could turn a profit with it, that would mean even more. But to be able to use your own space that you have that's got all your proprietary labels on it, and you're filming everything there, and then you collaborate with someone down the road that's super big in the social media space, you know, to have them at your spot. It may not be the most profitable thing for what you're doing, but I think it would be so neat to see you, you know, evolve into that.
I'm actually doing more of that. If I'm trying to be forward thinking, I'm trying to do a little bit of forecasting, and what we do, especially with these new changes coming in, is I have to have very realistic talk with myself as far as being in the online space. Like AI is coming for a lot of this stuff. So you can get the aesthetics. These things are getting so good at building personas and knowing talking points and camera angles. Like there are online models that are getting millions and millions of follows, and that's going to be the new influencer. So I feel like if you're going to be ahead of the curve, you may actually be onto something. It's kind of some where I'm gearing my business towards, is I'm doing more of this in life, in person, like reality part where I'm actually really interacting and building connections this way. And then what's online is actually what's going to drive it even further. But if it's not based on anything in reality, you may have this social media space, but I've never seen this guy in person. I've never had a real reaction with him. And that's where people share and tag, and they're having this real life interaction, brick and mortar interaction with you. They see you out there actually doing and having an impact in real life. And what's online and social media and all that, it only magnifies that. So having a real life impact, I think it's going to start going more into person to person, people interaction. You see a lot of brands embracing this. They're doing more live events. They're doing more in person. They're doing more of these type approaches, especially in the fitness space. They're building this community of people offline actually experiencing the product, the fitness, the mindset, the talk, or whatever it is they're doing online. And that only gets amplified on the online space, but you're going to get lost a lot in the AI slop if you're a one-trick pony in that aspect.
What about bringing on someone on the more medical side, like holistic, to be able to do their blood work and things like that? Where do you stand on that now, and do you dream about that in the future of your app? And
I do. Being a proponent and a pusher of needing to have more of the data landscape, having that be a holistic approach. I have actually tried that, not quite medical jump yet, but brought in licensed dietitians, other nutritionists, and other specialties like that. It's really high-end, high scope, but you also open yourself up to a lot of different legalities. So if you're bringing on medical stuff, you also need to disclose that you are not, like I have to do it all the time now, I'm not a doctor. And what I'm giving you is not advice. It's just so guys' experience. I'm sharing my experience with you. They're having to put a lot of that in there because you may tout your medical background and maybe misconstrue as medical advice. So you can, but you also open up yourself to a lot of different things. And now that we know on the like weight loss side, GLPs are becoming a very prevalent approach into that. And a lot of people are implementing that into their coaching. And what they can do now is they could outsource. There's a lot of outsourcing of that medical part into your business. So I feel like the more a la carte and more all-in-one, ready to go and add to your business type approaches may be coming. There's several of them out there, and I just think that they're terribly expensive. Are they wrong? No, if they get you there, but you can now go to places and get the medical part of it in. It's all done via online. You meet with a provider, they're licensed, they ship you the stuff. I just feel like it's such a big undertaking for where I am in my business. I know exactly what I am. I'm just not at that scale to do that, where you bring in medical professionals, a little extra, the legality. You're also selling a lot. So one of these I've seen everything we do in our annual physical, I'm like, well, I can go and get that done at work. When you see the consumer side of it, it's like, holy shit, people are paying this kind of money. I see one of these was $1,000 to have your consult, and then to have comprehensive metabolic panel, glycosylated hemoglobin, lipid panel, just things that are like run of the mill. You go to your doctor and get this every year, like for $1,500. Like, don't you have insurance? If you go on insurance, most of them allow for a one time a year, like physical well-being check, which should all be covered, and you're paying. So on the consumer side, is very, very good opportunity if you're offering that. I'm like, you're outsourcing all the stuff that you can get from your provider. I've tried about, just don't want to overcomplicate my process. I want to stay in my lane. I can give you some insight to what I did with my labs and all, but I don't interpret them for you. I'm like, hey, you might like check your cholesterol out. This puts you at a higher cardiovascular risk. You may want to check your CRP or, your liver enzymes. Maybe it's a kidney thing. You go to that person, like go to your doctor you trust and maybe not somebody that's tagged in with helping you with the weight loss. For me personally, that's what I would think.
Little C-reactive protein mentioned there.
Yeah,
let's go.
I don't know why I threw that one in there, but
this guy knows what's going on. Yeah. Do you have any experience with peptides?
I do, and you know what? It's becoming a hot trending topic. It is. My experiences kind of reminds me a lot of the SARMs thing. You remember when SARMs?
Oh, yeah.
Selective androgen receptor modulators. Kind of a fancy thing. But at one time, this thing was trending.
Those are the precursors, basically, to steroids, correct? In a layman's description? Like SARMs are what produce like more of what you could take just straight up androgen type inhibitors.
I bring that up because I notice a lot of commonalities between the two approaches. You're being called different things. So a lot of SARMs were actually like peptides. So I can't think of the exact name of the peptide that I'm hearing touted a lot right now, but it's like a growth hormone secretagogue.
BPC 157.
That may be it. But there was a SARM out there that did the same exact thing. It was a growth hormone secretagogue. You're not getting growth hormone. What it does is it gets it to secrete the hormone that causes you to produce more of that hormone. Yeah. And so those effects are going to be very similar. You're going to have a little bit of water retention. The ultimate goal is you are going to be releasing more of this growth hormone, which can cause you to be actually going to get deeper rest as you progress through this SARM or peptide. It's essentially doing the same thing, that it's going to perpetuate a lot of the same end results. But if you know how your body's going to respond to that, you just got to know, all right, well, I wouldn't take a secretagogue if I'm looking to cut. If I'm looking to get lean, it doesn't make sense because you're going to hold more water, you're going to sleep more, you're going to be hungry, your appetite's going to go up. So I feel like that's where it really gets off. I feel like it gives me a little bit of an advantage in us just having a good understanding of human biology, but not. I feel like peptides is being touted. It feels like another SARM's jump to me. I don't know enough about to speak wholeheartedly on it. I think just like investing, you brought up, like Bitcoin and crypto. What would be the number one, like, do not do this, like, cardinal rule that people break when they're getting into crypto? What would you say that is?
I guess,
it's the number one cardinal rule in investing.
Probably don't put it all in one place. I don't know.
Well, what I'm thinking is, all right, the number one rule with investing is don't invest into something you don't understand.
That's, yeah.
So if mom and dad, like, hey, somebody sold my crypto. Yeah, let's allocate half of our investment towards this crypto thing. What is it? Can you tell me what it is? I don't know, but I know they're making money off of it. I feel like that's a lot what's being touted, and what catches on so quickly social media with fitness stuff, because peptides is popular right now, and the misleading part of it is if somebody's got these fantastic results and they're touting peptides as the only way to get that, that may be a little disingenuous, in my opinion. Are they helpful? Yeah, but if you don't understand those, you're just taking this guy's information on it. I feel like it's got a ton of benefits. I haven't done enough research, even on myself, to do it. Can it be beneficial? But you better understand how that works, I would think, at some level, if you're going to be implementing that into your body's chemistry, I feel. or the person you're getting that advice from, you got to really trust them. They got to know what they're, they got to know their stuff.
No, that's great, and I'm guilty of it too, and most of us are. But I read like snippets of things or like the first couple paragraphs on PubMed, and then I'm all fucking in.
I'm the same way. It's like all in or all out. And they call it the. I think one of the biggest, most prevalent issues right now is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Right? Have you heard of that?
No.
So what that is it's a phenomenon in psychology that the more you know about a topic, maybe the less confident you are on speaking out about it. And it mirrors a lot of what's on social media. So people that are typically the loudest and the most boisterous about a particular topic, it may be because they don't know enough about that topic, that they don't know what they don't know. And someone that's well versed in it or has a larger pool of information that they're drawn from and experience on this particular topic aren't as confident speaking out because they're well aware of all the things that they don't know nuance-wise. And so somebody will read a quick clip and get a very minute understanding of something that's very confident in the way that it was delivered, and they take that as being the full amount of knowledge. So this Dunning-Kruger was actually a study that they ran on confidence on topics. And what they found as it went through is the more you know, well, the more you don't know. And so it may be the less confident you are in being so confident about delivering this message because you don't know everything. Does that make sense? So the people that tend to be the loudest and the most boisterous and the most upfront about it and use this facts, I'm not saying everybody, but a big thing that's prevalent is this Dunning-Kruger effect that, well, I know enough. I know everything. Well, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. That's why you're so confident.
Do you remember a class that might have referenced that phenomenon where they did the study where it was like, what's 2 + 2? But they forced like 90% of the people to raise their hand and say 5.
Uh-huh.
And so the other 10% that knew it was 4 just raised their hand to say it was 5 as well. There's some weird thing that I always hear David talk about. That's something interesting like that.
I can't recall, but we know a lot of that is conditional learning. And maybe even a bit of the group mentality that we take to not want to stand out and go against the crowd comes along with that longing to belong to a group, more of a psychological thing, different, but I think maybe in the same way. And how confident you are in saying that, no, that can't be 4. I think that's more about I don't want to stick out, and I'm just gonna go with the crowd.
You mentioned. I feel like I'm the opposite though. I'm looking to take the other side, just so I can create a little division there.
Yeah. Do you find yourself taking more of a contrarian stance
all the time?
Is it for the sake of argument?
I'm just really argumentative,
I wouldn't say
but almost
that.
for the sport.
Yeah.
For the sport of it, know. A lot of people would say it's because no one knows, no one wants to be right. But really, I kind of like debating, I'm not very good at it. I'm not very well read, I'll be honest, but I do love to take the contrarian stance just to see how much these people can spew on what they're actually saying. It's generally not a lot. You don't need a lot to defeat somebody.
I think that's plays a little bit into you're being a little bit more safer about how you're saying that. I think what you really like, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you like seeing that this is a well thought out stance that somebody has, and you want to understand their framework of thinking before you take face value what's being presented. And that's why sometimes just challenging people, even to just take a challenging stance, maybe helps you work through that. I don't know if that's how your mind works or not, or if that would be.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is based on like most of my decisions might have worked out different if I played devil's advocate with myself.
Yeah.
So if I can play it with somebody else, I'm like, do you see what I'm seeing from the outside perspective? You talked about sleep a little bit. Have you done any research into like the higher doses of creatine?
I actually had just came across this article about first responders and creatine, and how first responders in general should be adjusting their supplementation if they're looking to get the max amount of benefits, and creatine monohydrate being one of the ones that's highly studied. There's a ton of evidence on all of its positive properties, with rest and recovery being one of them. There's also a lot of cognitive benefits, and probably due to the restorative processes that happen in sleep. I don't know if directly it's because of the creatine or because you're able to exert yourself, put yourself on this level on the physical side to where you need to recover. You need more rest, and it puts you in that state. Taking creatine just to get better sleep at night, I don't know. 100%.
Well, like for sleep deprivation, there's some pretty significant benefit to maybe going to 10 grams, or, some people are even up at 20 grams, per day. Maybe they split it in 10 and 10, but especially for people like us that might not get 8 hours even 3 times a week, depending on if you're working overtime. That seems to me like a pretty big hack, especially since they've really ruled out, because it used to be like, be careful with your kidneys, drink a lot of water. I think they've ruled most of that out from what I've read.
Yeah. I have not heard a lot about that. But if I found out tonight that, like, hey, if you mainline this shit, it actually will fix your sleep 100%, you might catch me, with creatine. And just because something's good, adding more of it.
I think always not adding
always,
more of it is not always.
But if that was the case, like, I would be all for it and love to find out more about that actually being a solid way of helping with sleep deprivation. But I know, like, when I think of my sleep deprivation, I think of all the shit that I'm choosing to not think about. Like, that I know I probably shouldn't have had this energy drink. You know what I mean? Like, within 9 hours of sleep, like, I know I didn't exert myself to a level where I would need to get better sleep. Like, sometimes not moving at all, I know it's going to affect my sleep at night. I need to exert myself some type of way. I know that, I'd been indoors all day. I didn't get any sun exposure. I didn't initiate any of that melatonin process in my body to be timed up with the circadian rhythm that's naturally in us, and removing sunlight has a lot to do with that in the hormone process behind. Like, if I'm not pulling the biggest levers I know that have the most amount of effect on my sleep, if I don't do that first, like, maybe some of these things help, but they may be just a symptom of what the underlying cause is on why I'm not getting good, restful, restorative sleep.
Do you do nutritional panels on yourself?
I do. I'll look at more of, like, you have one in particular that
I was going to ask you after that. Furthermore, like, what supplements do you put a lot of stake in for you personally?
Yeah, we know. Well, if you're vitamin deficient or nutrient deficient, and a lot of that's going to be on your diet. Like, are you getting a good variety in your diet? And I like kind of eating the same shit every day, and so I have to throw in some variety in there. And I'll supplement where I can. But again, if you're not drawing and looking at that data exactly, then it'd be very hard to know. I always just try to eat a wide range, get my multivitamins in, omega-3s. We know omega-3s, creatine, extra iron, B12, vitamin D and E, and like getting those D3 specifically for us. Like, if we're getting a good baseline of these foundational ones we know have the highest amount of benefit, then maybe it comes down to a deficiency. Like, am I eating, like, what am I cutting out of my diet? I'm going into like more of a restrictive phase for me. So I know the deeper you go into a deficit, you're going to be leaving things on the table, and to be monitoring that pretty closely.
I guess one of the last things I wanted to ask you is, like, what's on the agenda for you acutely within the next few months or the next year? You mentioned you had some big things going on. Is there anything you feel comfortable sharing or even if it's not a collaboration, but maybe something that you would really like to integrate down the road?
That's a good question.
I can't speak.
That's a good question. Some of these things, from what I can say, I think will surprise a lot of people. I am not against doing something outside of my comfort range. I feel like that's where most of the growth happens. But I kind of like that about just how I approach life. Like, I don't know, I might go out and perform tonight. I don't know. That might be part of it. But some of these projects I'm looking to get into is definitely going to be me getting outside my comfort zone. It's going to be me doing something very different. And I can't wait to share and disclose more about that. That's actually part of the process. It's a little bit more in the public eye, and I would hope that it has a better chance at reaching people and having a bigger impact, and seeing that either from a branding perspective or just a reach thing. More immediately, one of my favorite times of the year is coming around AA NHPI month, which is the month of May, which happens to be graduation season and stuff too. I do a lot of stuff with my culture. I don't consider myself like a performer, like on stage dancing and performing, but that's one of the ways I can constantly keep myself like humble pie, but also nervous at the same time to go out and do that. I've got a couple of those performances coming up.
The fire stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So Fire Knife Dance, it's called Siva Afi, which is an a dance art form, something that has been done for generations back on the islands, but more contemporarily has been the adding of fire and making it more of part of celebrations and more of a public spectacle at that. Like there's an actual sport. They actually have a world championship competition. They have a lot of competitions are throughout this whole thing. And when I started doing social media, one of the things I wanted to do when I got in shape was like, all right, well, getting up on stage, like that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to compete like that, but like one way I can showcase the physique and kind of make it a fitness thing, but also embellish in something that I truly care about. And anything with Polynesian dancing, I mean, you're half naked up there, your shirt off, you're wearing a lava lava, you're wearing,
Yeah, I wondered if you have underwear on under there or not.
Hey, I do. I don't know what everybody does, but in traditional garb, like you didn't. You wore even lava lava. You had a grass skirt. It just depends how like authentic you're coming when it comes to the garb or the dress. But for the most part, you're in a tropical climate. If you're wearing what your ancestors wore and wearing something that's traditional, there's not a whole lot left to the imagination. And so with Siva Afi, what it is it start off as a war dance. It would come back and mimic the moves that they used in battle to defeat their enemies. Right, and so they're moving, and eventually turned into a dance and turned into this storytelling method. We don't have a written language in ancient Polynesia. It was a spoken language. It was something that was articulated through the generations. That's why talking chiefs are very important in the societal processes. That's how the stories and the history get passed along with tattooing, in particular to the Samoan Islands. So one of the ways we pass down our stories and our lineage and our roadmap things was through a tattoo. So you could look at somebody's tattoo and okay, that art form was kept. But with Siva Afi, same thing. Just being able to do this dance, and now that we added fire, made it a bit more of a spectacle. Was one of the ways I was able to tap back into my culture, find out more about who I am, but also in a good light, in having more of a warrior stance and warrior presence, and being able to do that and share that with other people. It's been a huge part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was watching some of your videos, you doing that. It's amazing, really, man. I can't imagine. Did you take like a class, or did you have a family member that was able to show you how to get going with that?
So there's always been stuff online, and fire knife has always been a part of culture things. And actually, my younger brother went to college and did that. Like worked at the Polynesian Cultural Center, which is where they'll put on luau's and they'll do. He did fire knife dancing and did a couple other things in the village, but did a whole bunch of that. And here recently, when I got back into it, I was able to lean on him to get some lessons and learn more from somebody that I knew. Right, and then with online things, it led me to finding out and reaching out to some of these guys that were actually special. So I want to go the best and learn and get some tips. And that's kind of where the fitness thing and content's led. The algorithming again led me in front of a lot of that community. I actually now coach a lot of fire knife dancers and former champions and give tips and it works out well. So I get to learn a little bit more about how bad my form is. Then I get to tell them where they're screwing up at nutrition. So it's a two-way street. Like
back and forth.
Yeah, it's really led to a lot of that working out. It's been great. But I got a couple of those coming up. More immediately, just kid graduating and just really try and enjoy the ride, man. Like I don't want to take on too much. I want to be able to enjoy things.
Well, and keep your body in shape so you can enjoy those moments for as long as you can, man.
Yeah, get some sleep. Like you brought up sleep. Like I think if I make that my number one goal, like every day, like it doesn't matter what goes on. My goal today is to get a straight 8 of solid sleep. That would be the dream life for me. Nice. To be able to pull that off every night.
Tell everybody where they can get your coaching and where they can find you.
So right now we do a lot on social media. You can find us on Instagram. The handle is it's Tautua Fitness, Tautua Fitness. All same pages on Facebook. Search us up, Tautua Fitness. Website is the same. I'm real creative and coming up with all this. It's tautuafitness.com, www.tautuafitness.com. That main landing page should get you a whole lot more information, some previous tutorials, former clients, kind of a step-by-step what our process is, and even a way to reach out. And I do strategy sessions. So if we have time, you can hop on the schedule. If that time's open, pick it, and we set a time to have a strategy session, just a quick phone call, like an exploratory thing. See if coaching's right for you. If not, I do a ton of free resources like guides and nutrition things that you can get via the Instagram or Facebook or the website if you're really inclined. But reach out.
Cool, man. Well, I love that you embrace your culture. I think your mission is really pure. I was even surprised about how it's all about the mission, because I know, unfortunately, part of it is having to sell out a bit to make these things work, to make it so you can keep doing it. But to hear how it's all about the community and just reaching one person even to change their life, it's really beautiful, man. And I really appreciate you bringing the kava and sitting down with me for a couple hours, dude. This was sick.
Has it been a couple hours?
Yeah.
I know we're due for at least one more bowl. If you guys have time, I want to make one more bowl.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
But this has been fantastic. I really, really like what you're doing here. And to have me on, like, the honor's been all mine, and I hopefully get a chance to come back out and chat with you guys some more.
Yeah, next when you get something done, or even in the future whenever you're ready to come back. I know you're a busy MFer, so it took us a little while to get this one. So it means a lot, dude, that you would take the time to do this. So
I'm only busy for the people
you,
I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. All right,
really
folks.
busy.
Take care.